Why do 70% of businesses fail and only 10% ever make $1 million or more? Well, in this video, I'm gonna give you 5 reasons that this could be, and I'm also gonna show you how you can implement this to your business so that you won't fail and that you'll make millions of dollars. When I talk to business owners and I evaluate businesses for myself, the number one thing that I always look at whenever I'm looking at a business is I always look at the market. And I look at a few things with the market because the market is gonna be the number one reason that you fail. For example, we did an event about 2 months ago and we had about 400 attendees on this event. And we made about $4 million on this event. Now, why did we make $4 million on this event? The reason that we made $4 million on this event was not because I'm the greatest salesperson in the world. It was because we had the right audience on the event. We had the right market. You see, I work with lawyers and lawyers can get a very big ROI on their marketing spend. And I own a marketing agency. So what we do is we work with lawyers and we help them make a lot of money. And because we help them make a lot of money, then we can charge a lot of money as well. Now, if you compare that to school teachers, for example, let's say I had 400 school teachers on there and I'm teaching them how to do something. There's no way I'm doing $4 million on an event with 400 school teachers because they don't have the spending capacity, right? So when you look at your market, you want to think, does this market have the ability to pay my fees? And typically, the ability to pay your fees comes from being able to earn an ROI from your services. Now, the other thing I want to look at is I want to look at TAM, total available market. And the reason that's important is because not every industry is going to be able to support $6,500 a month, which is what my marketing agency charges. But if you have a very, very large market, you can then sell a smaller price item, and through the economy of scale, you can make money as well. And that's what I did with my supplement company. I have a supplement company that actually is a way to solve the problem of having hemorrhoids. It's basically a cure for hemorrhoids, right? Now, 80% of people in the entire country, actually really in the entire world, will get hemorrhoids at some point in their life. And 50% of people over the age of 50 have hemorrhoids. So I saw those numbers and I was like, holy crap, that's a really big market. I gotta go with that market, right? So that was my logic there. Now, obviously I'm not gonna be selling supplements for $6,500 a piece, but because the market is so big, I know that I can make a dent in that. Now, a couple other things I look at in the marketing. The first thing I look at is are there other companies in there that are successful with bad marketing? And that's really an important part. When I see other businesses that are successful in a market that I want to go into, and I see that those businesses suck at marketing, I know I can go in there and I can put good marketing in and I can beat them every single time. Now, the third thing that I look at when I'm evaluating a market is I ask myself, does that market follow GDP? Does it follow the US economy? And the reason this is important is because if you're in a market that follows GDP, then what happens is your business is going to go up and down and up and down and up and down as the economy goes up and down. But if you have a business that doesn't follow GDP, for example, legal, like if you get arrested, if you get into a car accident, if your wife serves you divorce papers, you're still going to hire a lawyer, right? Let's say you work with air conditioning repair people, right? I live in Florida. If your air conditioner goes out in the middle of the summer, it doesn't matter recession or not, you're getting your air conditioner fixed, right? So you want to think about, does my market follow GDP? Let's say you work with restaurants. What happens with restaurants during a recession? Unfortunately, people have less disposable income, so they stop going out. So this is something to be very aware of. Does your market follow GDP? What are the markets that don't follow GDP? And those might be good ones for you to target. Even a supplement company, it's actually interesting. With supplement companies, what I found is that during recessions, supplement companies actually typically tend to increase because people have less money to go to the doctor, so they want to try more natural remedies. So these are all really, really important, but market is just like real estate. The profit is made when you buy, right? It's very, very difficult to pick the wrong market and then steer the ship differently, right? So you want to make sure that going into your business, you've got the right market that you're following. Okay, so now the second thing that I look at when I'm evaluating a business and I'm trying to figure out, is this business going to succeed or is it going to fail, is the average order value, AOV. Now, here's why this is important. Because if you don't have an average order value up front that is enough to pay for your advertising, then it's going to be very, very difficult for you to get leads. So let me give you an example using my supplement company. So my supplement company, it costs us about $70 to make a sale on Facebook. So it's not cheap. It costs us about $70 to sell a product. Now, if you were to look at just one bottle of our supplements, one bottle is $49.99. So if this was our entire average order value, we'd be upside down. We'd be down $20 every single time we sold a product, right? So what we did is we created packages where we were able to basically increase the amount of money that we can make on each order. And we created one package for $119, and we created another one for, I believe it's $149. And what we do is we price anchor so that it really looks like this one is actually the best deal. Now, a lot of people still buy the $49, but because we price anchor it and because we have these options here, a lot of people also buy this one here. And our average order value for our first customer is $104. So because we were able to focus on our average order value, we went from being at a negative, a loss right here, which is what this would be if it was just $49.99, to actually making a $34 product to acquire the customer, right? Now, what's interesting about this is that we know our business and we know that 35% are going to reorder. So when this happens, when we know that we can actually make $34 on our first sale for $34 profit after acquiring the customer, and we know that 35% are going to buy more, well, that's how we know that we can scale this business. So you need to think about what's the cost to acquire a customer, and then how can I create a package, whether it's selling multiple bottles, because basically all this is selling multiple bottles. We got one bottle here, we've got like buy 3, get 2 free here, and we got like buy 5, get 3 free or something like that, right? So what you've got to think about is how can I get my average order value above my cost to acquire? Now, if you don't know what your cost to acquire is, you got to figure that out as well. But all we did was used a little bit of creativity and basically just offered them more of the same thing. So this $149, I believe it's buy 3, get 2 free. And this $119, it's buy 2, get 1 free. So we didn't make it that crazy, right? It's not like we made this huge offer, but basically what we just did is we offered them more at a discount price per bottle, and most people buy it, especially when you pre-check the highest one that you want them to buy on the order page and then put recommended or most popular or something like that. Believe it or not, people, just those two things will cause people to spend more money with you, right? And then when you do that, all of a sudden a business that becomes not sustainable actually becomes profitable, right? So that's why focusing on the average order value is really, really important, because when you actually focus on the average order value, then you can actually afford to spend money to advertise to grow the business. And a lot of people don't want to spend money on ads. The reason they don't want to spend money on ads is because they're afraid they're not going to get the money back. If I told you that give me $1 and I'm going to give you $2 back on your ad, like that, everybody would do that deal, right? But the problem is most people think that they're going to spend $1 and they're going to get 50 cents back, which most people do. And the reason why is because their average order value is out of whack. Now, the third reason that businesses fail is because they don't build a brand. Now, when I say build a brand, I don't mean build a brand like you may have learned in college. What I mean by building a brand is building a brand of what people come to expect from your business and how you can differentiate yourself from all the other businesses out there. Now, the way that I have found it the easiest to build a brand is by doing exactly what I'm doing right now, where you basically get on camera and you just help people solve problems, right? Or you create a podcast, or you create TikTok videos, or you create blog posts, or whatever it is, whatever your way of getting out there to actually help people solve problems. That is what I perceive a brand to be. That's how we did it with the supplement company. So my supplement company, it's not me. I'm not the attractive character of the supplement company. My partner is. But what he does is he gets on camera and he just creates video after video after video after video after video talking about how to get rid of hemorrhoids and what kind of foods to eat and what kind of foods to avoid and what kind of exercises and how much water you can drink and every single problem that people could solve. And what that does is that differentiates us from all the other hemorrhoid products out there, because we're the ones that are extremely helpful. That's the same thing that I've done for my marketing agency. We're the legal marketing agency that is constantly putting on all these really big events that provide tons and tons of value. I've got thousands of videos that I've put out there completely free. Even our ads, what we're doing is we're helping people solve problems. That's the brand that we created for our business. It's not just about the logo and stuff like that, but it's how do you differentiate yourself and what do people come to expect when they see you? When people see me, and I've seen this because I've gone through and I've looked in different Facebook groups and different forums where lawyers get together and talk, and one of the things that's always associated with my name is very, very helpful, very, very useful information. When people associate that with you, then what they think is, okay, yeah, they can help me solve all my problems, but it also makes you different from everybody else. You can prove you're different by actually being different. And most companies don't focus on building that brand that differentiates them from all their competition. Okay, so the fourth reason that I see businesses fail is because lack of perceived value. Now, a mentor of mine, Myron Golden, once said to me that income is the result of value conveyed clearly, right? So here's the thing, you're not gonna make any income, you're not gonna make any sales, you're not gonna make any money if you don't provide any value. But just providing value and being valuable isn't enough. Sometimes people won't even convey the value, which means demonstrating the value of the product or service that you're actually offering. Like how many different ways and how hard are you conveying the actual value, meaning the benefit to the recipient of the product or the service, right? Now, the other thing to ask yourself is, if you're conveying that value, are you clearly conveying the value? Meaning, is it crystal clear how your product or service will benefit them in a very, very straightforward and easy to understand manner? Because a lot of times we get kind of caught up in our own head and we think that because we understand something and we know what we're doing, we basically assume that the viewer or the person that you're speaking to or the person watching your content or the person reading your sales presentation or whatever it is understands exactly what you're talking about as well. But most people don't. You have to remember that a confused mind always says no. So the second you start getting into technobabble or anything that isn't just at like an 8th grade reading level, people are gonna check out and they're not gonna pay attention. So one of the things that you need to do is you need to make sure that not only are you conveying the value of your product or service and how it is going to specifically benefit them, and this is in everywhere you do, this is on sales calls, this is on your website, this is in your ads, this is on your landing pages, this is everywhere. But not only are you conveying the value, but crystal clear conveying the value. I mean, a 5-year-old could understand the value that they are going to be getting, because if it's not that simple, I promise you, people are checking out and they're not paying attention. And if you don't clearly convey your value, you will not make any money, right? And this is something I see very, very often. And it's a common mistake that's probably the easiest, most avoidable mistake, because all you have to do is make things more simple. Use a small word instead of a big word. Like, that's what you have to do. But you have to make sure that you're clearly conveying the value. A lot of people don't convey any value whatsoever. And then the ones that do, they don't do it clearly. So you want to make sure that your value is clearly conveyed, because that's what directly leads to income. Now, the fifth, and certainly not the final reason that businesses fail, but the fifth one that I can see, which is really common, that sometimes a lot of people don't want to talk about, is maybe your product sucks. Is your product good enough to deserve for you to have a successful business? Because that's the real question, right? If you pick the right market and you have a great average order value and you built a brand and you're showing the value that people are supposed to get, but at the end of the day, your product doesn't deliver, your service doesn't deliver, then your business is probably going to fail. You can sell your way through a bad product for a little while, but eventually people start to talk. So you need to make sure that your product is so good that it grows on its own. If you spend the time putting in the work to ensure that your product or your service is absolutely amazing, that it lives up to all the hype that you're giving it, that people get an amazing return on their investment if you're going B2B, or consumers get an amazing result from your product if you're going B2C, then what will happen is people will start talking about your product and word will spread and it will grow on its own. But if you have a crappy product and people aren't willing to talk about it and they're not willing to recommend it to their friends because they're not getting a good result, then that's a bigger problem. So you need to make sure that your product actually delivers what it says it's going to do. And if you do all of these things, if you focus on picking the right market, if you get your average order value high enough that you can actually afford to advertise, if you can build a brand that differentiates you, that makes people associate you with the positive benefit of your product and also differentiates you from everyone else in the market, and you clearly convey the value and your product is awesome, then your business won't just make $1 million, it'll make tens of millions of dollars, maybe even hundreds of millions of dollars, maybe billions of dollars, depending on your market, right? So these are the 5 things. Let me know if you agree or disagree or if I missed any in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next video.